Better? Yeah. Thank you, Josh. Yeah. Sorry
Yeah,
about
no
that.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds much better. Yeah. So you're telling us about Kuminga and what they said about him today at the exit interview program?
Yeah, just from what I saw, I wasn't out there, but from what I saw, it didn't seem like they were real strong. Like from what Steph and Draymond said, that they were real strong on. Okay, we need to bring this guy back. So I think it might be a situation where look for a change there.
Okay.
Josh, you as Whitey talked about, you cover it all. When it comes with the Warriors, and we were just having this conversation, it seems like the Warriors are all in on, trying to make the last bit of hope with Steph Curry. Are you getting that sense like they're just going to go all in no matter what the last 2 or 3 years or however long Steph Curry is going to be playing?
Well, yeah, I think trading for Jimmy Butler and signing Jimmy Butler, definitely they have a window here where they're going to try to compete. I think they thought they could compete if Steph had been healthy this year. So I think, they're probably on that same track.
All right, Josh, how about the San Francisco 49ers? How friendly is this new schedule for the 49ers?
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty favorable schedule. Playing both South divisions is, probably the easiest two outside divisions you can play. Having a last place schedule where you get the Browns instead of the other teams in the AFC North, the Giants instead of the teams in the NFC East, and the Bears. It's definitely favorable. I think where the schedule plays out, definitely a little harder in the beginning of the year, which might not be ideal for the Niners. With they're going to be breaking in, maybe up to 5 rookie starters on defense. Brandon Ayuk might not be healthy to start the year. Malik Mustafa might not be healthy to start the year. So, the fact that their schedule is a little tougher earlier in the year than it is late in the year, definitely to close the schedule seems very favorable. I think the last 5 weeks, they get on a plane once. They got 3 home games, a bye, and 1 trip to Indianapolis. The last end of the season, Carolina, Cleveland, some easier games, but that's before that stretch. So they definitely have a favorable schedule at the end of the year. So if they can get themselves in position, they might be able to, put together a little run and, get into the postseason.
So 16-1, you're saying?
Well, they might be resting the starters week 18. You never know. So,
that's a good point.
So,
very good point.
Yeah, you always got to account for that. So,
Josh, I had said this a little earlier during the show, joined by Josh Dubow of the AP. He does it all here, of course, in Northern California, the Bay Area. You had, and I think I got this from you. I hadn't seen this. The 49ers play 0 teams coming off a bye this year. That super surprised me compared to last year, which it felt like every team was coming off the bye in a couple of years ago. Does that play a big role in your mind for this team moving forward?
Yeah, I don't know how big a role it plays. I think how big a deal it was probably overstated when they were playing 4 teams last year coming off the bye. I think the advantage is pretty marginal if you're coming off the bye. If you look at the numbers the last 10, 15 years, is it helpful? Sure. Is it a major impact? Probably not.
Josh, do you think I know you're not a doctor, at least as far as I know. Do you think it's safe to assume Christian McCaffrey is healthy? Do you think the 49ers are assuming that?
I think they're assuming he's healthy today. Obviously, if he's going to be healthy for 18 weeks of the regular season in the playoffs remains to be seen. But I do think they feel pretty good with where he's at right now. He seems to be fully recovered from, the calf Achilles, the Achilles tendonitis from the knee issue that sidelined him at the end of the year. But he's a running back. He's taking a lot of hits. There are not a lot of guys who, can excel year after year at that position. It's a pretty demanding position. So whether they can make it through a full season remains to be seen. But I think they're happy with where it's at right now.
As much as I don't want to ask you, Josh, you've covered the Raiders for a long time, and I know they're jumped out the market a little bit, but you keep your eye on that. For all the Raider fans here still in Northern California, I asked the obligatory question. What's your thoughts on the Raiders schedule in this season?
Schedule's tough because they're in a division with 3 teams that made the playoffs last year, and who all seem to be in pretty good shape. So you started off with 6 difficult division games. They play the NFC. The schedule is definitely not the easiest schedule, but I do think the Raiders are, if you look at most improved teams, they're definitely up there. Obviously, they're starting from a pretty low level as a 4-win team, but I think Geno Smith's a pretty big upgrade over what they had at quarterback last year. Pete Carroll's a definite upgrade over Antonio Pierce. whatever you think about drafting running back 6 overall, Ashton Jeanty should make it a pretty good impact as a rookie, you would think. So this team should definitely be more interesting and more exciting and more competitive this year, whether they're, a playoff team. I think that might be a little much to ask, especially in that division, but they should be a lot better than they were.
Josh, if for the 49ers, if this season goes anything like last season, and it doesn't look like it will, but if it did, do you think then things could start to get a little warm seat-wise for Shanna Lynch?
I'd say another 6-11 season, sure. Like, I don't. I don't envision 6-11 happening again. I do think that Jed York believes in both John and Kyle. So I don't anticipate any changes. But obviously, if you don't produce, anything can happen, I guess. But I would not. Gotcha. I would not be characterizing them on the hot seat right now.
Right. Gotcha.
Josh, one thing, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. You cover all sports in the Bay Area. Do you have I'm pretty sure you're going to give me the journalistic answer, but do you have a favorite team that you cover or favorite sport that you cover?
I feel like the NFL the best in terms of the events, hockey playoffs. When the Sharks are good and going to playoffs. Loved covering the hockey playoffs. It's been a while. But like that run in 2016 when they went to the Cup, the run in 2019 when they went to the conference final, those are pretty memorable. There's nothing like being in the arena for those games. But in terms of day-to-day, NFL is definitely my favorite.
This is not. I'm not setting you up with this question because Jay and I have talked very frankly about the A's situation and how we love the players, but it's an awful situation and they shouldn't be playing in a minor league park. But my question is, have you witnessed an A's game here? Do you think you'll be seeing any A's games here in Sacramento?
I was up there for the Yankee series. I was up there for all 3.
What'd you think?
It was my first time at the ballpark. It's a nice ballpark. At the minor league ballpark. It's obviously not.
Right.
Yeah. I'm curious how it's going to play, especially in the summer. It was definitely playing very hitter friendly this past weekend. Seemed like A's pitchers, especially Luis Severino, got a little frustrated by that. I think it's going to. So I'm curious how it's going to play. It seems like the wind was definitely a factor, and it seems like the ball carries really well there. So I'm curious, just in terms of that aspect of it. John Fisher did get his wish. Aaron Judge hit a couple homers. I'm sure he was very pleased. It seems like the people at the stadium, they're trying to make the best of a not great situation. Seems can't believe we're going to be doing this for 3 years at least. But
we'll see about that. Yeah, we'll see about
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Joined by Josh Dubow of the AP. Josh, last one for me. When it comes to the A's and me and as Whitey talked about, we've had this conversation. Let's just forecast a little bit. If they do make the playoffs, and we know the league has said that they're not going to play here in Sacramento, is there any form or fashion which you have in your ear to the streets down there? Could they double back and play in Oakland at all?
I don't think so. I don't think it's set up probably to be major league ready. I think it has to be a major league park. Park hosting major league games during the year in terms of having, the setup with the instant replay, all of that. I'm not sure that's even still in place at the Coliseum. I think if they were hosting playoff games, if it gets to that point, I think it would be. I guess it would depend a little bit on who else is in the playoffs and what stadiums out west are available. But I would have to think it would be somewhere else. Anaheim, San Diego, San Francisco, more than Oakland.
Gotcha. Josh Dubow, outstanding writer for the Associated Press, covering the 49ers and all Bay Area sports. Thanks, Josh. We appreciate it very much.
No problem.
We'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay, better. Bye.
Take it easy. Yeah. Anaheim, San Diego. I hadn't thought of that, Jay.
I hadn't thought about it either. Yeah, it's like San Diego, I'm thinking he's going to be in the playoffs. Dodgers, I'm thinking going to be in the playoffs. Anaheim would be interesting.
Probably going to be available.
That'll be a neutral field.
Oh, man. That would be the most Fisher's A's thing, wouldn't it?